And so tonight is going to be a little different because Kevin told me that I had about an hour and a half. So we're going to do a little bit of church tonight. Now, I'm just joking. I got about 30 minutes to give you a message that's going to inspire you. But it's not just here to inspire the young people. It's here to inspire everybody. But before I get into my message, I wanted to first say thank you to the Y Central Maryland for allowing me to live my dream. It's one thing to just go out and do something. It's another thing for it to be a dream and someone to give you a platform to do it. All right, and so I wanted to start by thanking Abby. Could we give her a round of applause? I also wanted to thank some of the team members where I've facilitated at some of the schools, such as TD. I think he's outside talking. That's usual. Kiara at Forest Park, and Kevin Salters, the guy that introduced me. Can we give them a round of applause? All right, and for all of my young people that's in the room, I want you all to stand because you guys are doing something that many of the adults have already achieved, and it is a great achievement. You guys are graduating, and I would like for us to give them our best round of applause. So all my young people, stand up. Stand up, 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 stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Come on. Now, it's kind of difficult for our young people to even receive that because the facts are many of these young people, they're battling certain challenges that adults, we really don't even know how to comprehend. So number one, I didn't have a cell phone until my 11th grade year, and it was a flip phone. And when I text, I use literally one finger. Now these young people, they have access to information extremely fast. Their life is on 24-hour go, right? Before they go to bed, they check IG. When they wake up, they check IG. And sometimes it's really hard to relate and even understand what they're going through. And so a little bit about myself so I can bring the adults up to speed because most of the kids have heard this story before. And so a Baltimore native, my family, West Side, no disrespect to 33rd and here over East. This is not my side of town, but I think this is beautiful and nice. And so I had the privilege of going to a high school called Northwestern High School, and I was extremely prideful to be a Wildcat. What many of my friends didn't know is that entering into my 9th grade year, I was reading on the 1st grade level, and my math and writing skills were lower than my reading skills. As a matter of fact, I went to a place called Kennedy Krieger, which many of you guys are familiar with, and they recommended that I didn't read any books and that all books should be audio books, and that if I decided to take notes, I shouldn't even write my own notes. Now, ironically, and the irony to that is, I got that diagnosis at 14, but I didn't learn about it until I was 24. And you might say, well, why does that matter? Simply because had I believed what someone said about me, I probably wouldn't be in front of you today. Now, my senior year, I just decided to work hard. I believed better for myself. And so my senior year, I actually finished in the top 10% of my class. And I was the first person in my family to go off to college. And I was also the first person to fail college, but I still was the first person. Not because of what a doctor said, but because what I believed in myself. And so tonight, young people, what I wanted to talk about is the sheer power of belief. Belief. Now, everybody in this room, if I asked you, what are your wants? Most people want something. That's a guarantee. Everybody wants something. But wants show up in our conversations. Belief show up in our actions. And for many of you young people, you believe hey, I can be the first person in my family as well. And that's true. You can be and you will be if you believe. Now, many of you guys have been in this program, I want to say roughly 3, maybe even 4 years, and you had the opportunity to work alongside some of the adults in the room, And you might not even realize that you took those relationships for granted, right? And they were trying to lead you in a direction to help you believe something in yourself. And I'm gonna show you how simple it is to believe and how we can easily get defeated by fear or lack of. So here we go. I want everybody in this room, young people, older people, I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing, bro. And I want you to see yourself 5 years out. I want you to see all of the things that you think about daily. I want you to see yourself in a career choice that you want to be in. I want you to see yourself making the money that you desire. I want you to see yourself driving the car that you desire. I want you to see yourself crossing a college stage or winning a college football championship. I want you to see yourself accomplishing whatever that goal is that you've had in your heart since elementary, middle school, your late 20s. Now I want you to open your eyes. Now everybody in this room that participated in that, you saw something. I'm 100% sure you saw something that don't look like what you see today. Am I correct? If you saw something that looks different than today, raise your hand for me. Nice and high, though. I want to see. Nice and high. You saw something that looked different than today. All right, so most of my young people saw something. We got some adults that saw something. Now, the truth of the matter is, the thing and the person that you saw now exists. He or she now exists. He or she is now waiting for you to put the action in the belief and take the proper steps to become that person. Now, if you really believe what you saw is an want, you're not going to just say, I want to be. You don't even have to say what you want to be. You just do a certain action and you become. And too often we get caught up in saying, I want to be, because as kids, they often ask, well, what do you want to be? And we say, I want to be a doctor and a lawyer. And you see this on little kids' faces. They smile, they happy. And then you see them 20 years later and they're not a doctor nor a lawyer or entertainer or an athlete. And for the fact is, we have some people in this room that said, I want to be. And then life circumstances happen and we never really become. So how do we become? The first thing is, young people, you're going to have to understand that the moment that you thought about, this is what I want to do. This is who I will be. This is my belief. There's something called opposition that's going to meet you, and it's going to feel like fear. And I once heard that fear is false evidence appearing real, but fear is real because I felt it before. And fear will stop you from doing the thing that you really want to do. So how do I overcome that? The same thing that I would do of the person that I just saw in my mind. I would just simply take a step forward. I didn't say you have to run. I just said take a step forward. And so whenever you start to feel fear, I don't want you to go or retreat. I want you to step into it. Because when you step into it, you'll find out that you'll step through it. Fear is real, but just on the other side of fear is who you actually want to become. But some of us, we're too fearful. We're too fearful to change. I remember when I was in high school and I didn't want to change. I told myself, hey, I want to go to the NFL. Now you guys see me, I'm 5'7". I was probably 135, 145. And I was like, how am I going to go to the NFL, but you can't read? You can't write. So I said, okay, well, what do I have to do? I had to step into it. So I started to teach myself how to read. So while my friends was hanging outside, I was practicing. While my friends was getting all of the girls, I was practicing. They might have took 5 minutes to read one paragraph. It might have took me an hour, but I was practicing. And every day I just took a step forward. And I remember when I first got my first good grades, I told myself that this is the new standard. I just believed that being an 85 average student was as low as it was going to get. I couldn't tolerate anything below that. And if my teachers gave me less than an 85, I would challenge them legitly. I would say, let's meet in the office in front of the principal, and you're going to whip out my grades, and you're going to show me every single grade that I got. Because it was a belief, it was in my action. I didn't have to tell my friends that I was on a mission. I knew what my family was going through. I knew that we didn't have the financial resources. I knew that they didn't have the education. I knew that they didn't have the blueprint. And for some of you in this room, you know the same thing. And the crazy thing about once you believe something, typically when we believe something, we go tell everybody in our life what we believed or what we saw. And you're going to be met with more opposition. And it's typically by the people that love you, unfortunately. Some of the adults know what I'm talking about. So you say, hey, I got this big dream and I want to do this thing, but nobody in my family ever done this thing. So the first thing they say is, bro, you can't do that. Like, yo, who are you to do that? Who are you to do that? Who are you to do that? Nobody in this family has ever done that. And then discouragement set in. But you have to remember, the moment that you tell somebody something big and they not living their dream, the only thing that they can offer is what they have, which is their reality, which is discouragement, which is fear, which is lack. But if you step forward from the negative thoughts, from the naysayers, from the doubters, from the disbelievers, every single day if you step forward, you'll realize that I'm no longer the person that I used to be, and I'm working on becoming the person that I desire to be, because it's just a simple step. It's just a simple step. And everybody in this room have that ability to make that step. And so when Kevin asked me, can I come out and speak? It was an easy yes for me, because what? This is my dream. This is exactly what I said I was going to do. I was in 9T, and I told myself I was going to work with young people. I thought it was going to be infants and toddlers, and then it turned into young people, and then it turned into young adults. But I knew what I was going to be. I knew that I was going to be in rooms talking to young people, encouraging them and inspiring them. It wasn't a doubt in my mind. Now, what I didn't know was that the same little boy that they said shouldn't read a book, shouldn't write his own notes, will one day write a book. And so I wrote a book called The Promise. Because the promise, we all are born with it. The word says that I have plans to prosper you, plans not to harm you. And so the moment that you've seen that thing in your mind, the next step is to what? Write it down. Now, some of you guys you've seen it in your mind, you're going to leave and you're going to forget, because what's going to happen? You're going to get on Instagram, you're going to get on Facebook for my old heads. Some of you guys are going to get on MySpace, maybe, I don't know. But you're going to get MySpace, I said it. Some people still got it. For my old heads, you're going to check your Yahoo email. But you're going to do something and life is going to start happening. Look, she said Yahoo. Yeah, Yahoo. Right? Life is going to start happening and you're going to start forgetting. And I'm not asking you to write a paragraph. I'm not asking you to write a page. For some of us, we can only write a sentence. For people like me, we can only write a word. And for people like me, we can't even spell the word, but we know what it means. So I'm just asking you, whatever you saw, just write it down. Why? Because now you can hold yourself accountable. So that's step one. First, you got to see it. Then you got to write it. And then you got to just take steps forward, make some action. And then you might say, well, Mayo, that sound good. That sound fine and dandy. Okay, cool. There's nothing new under the sun. That's what the word says. So all I'm saying is, if you know you want to do something or close to, go find the people that's doing it. I'm pretty sure we all heard birds of a feather flock together. So if you hanging around 10 broke people, you're going to be 11th. If you hanging around 10 bums, you're going to be 11th. If you are hanging around 5 negative people, it's only because you're negative. So just go find the people that's doing it, because they want to help. They want more people like them too. So for example, if you say, hey, I'm going to be first in my family, man, you need to find other people that want to be first in their family too. But here we go. here go to fear. I felt this fear, I promise you. I remember the day of graduation. I'm sitting on the front of the stage. I couldn't believe I was in the front, but I'm in the front of the stage, right? And I remember looking, because the way that they put you by number, numerical order, right? Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was sitting at 9th. And I remember looking back, thinking to myself that when I entered high school, I wasn't even in traditional classes. I wasn't in special education classes. They created the class because they didn't want to send me back to middle school. But here I am in the front because I believed I belonged in the front. That's how belief works. And so now you guys are about to go through the same process. And I promise you, for some of you, you're going to have this fear where it's like, I don't want to leave home. That's what you're going to say. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave my mom, my dad, my cousin, my brother, my homeboy. I don't want to leave, so I want to stay close. But I promise you this. Whatever is close right now today will be close 10 years from now today. So just leave. Because if you leave and come back a better person, then you can help the people who needed you to leave so you can develop the skills that you needed to so you can help them get out so that they can believe that they can leave too. But I promise you, for me, being the first to graduate, there was always this fear of being the first to fail. And unlike myself, I didn't have a lot of mentors. I didn't have a Mr. Kevin. I didn't have a next gen program. I didn't have that. I had an old head. He was kind of out of shape. He came to me. He said, listen, I heard you was going to college. I said, yeah. He said, look, focus on the books and focus on your sport. And in my mind, I'm like, man, he sloppy, he old, he don't know what he's talking about. And he said, listen, because if you don't, you'll be home in 6 months like me. And I paid that no never mind. I said, man, this guy don't know what he's talking about. I'm going to the NFL because I saw it in my head. I'm already there. I want to play for the Ravens. I'm going to make it. Everybody in my family was poverty. I'm going to be the one that carry us out. I get to school. I forget about this conversation. And I start dating, and I start doing what young people probably shouldn't do, and I became a father. 6 months later, I was on my way on 695 North, headed back home. And the only person I could think about was this old head who didn't know what he was talking about, who just seemed like some loser, trying to give advice that I didn't want to hear. But clearly he saw something in me and believed something in me that I didn't see in myself. And so the crazy thing about beliefs, your mom can't believe you to be a better person than you are. She can't want a better future for you than you want for yourself. She can mention it. She can inform you. Your dad can inform you, but they can never do it for you because it's your life. It's your choice. It's your belief. It's your belief. And so for me, if you don't take anything else from today, I want you to understand this. The fact of the matter is, life is going to happen in the blink of an eye. This is a fact. Most of you guys can remember logging onto a Zoom classroom, right? Sitting at home, waking up in your pajamas, right? During your 9th grade year. You can remember that, correct? You can also remember the first time you put on your school uniform to enter your school, correct? When you was like, man, I'm a sophomore, but I feel like a freshman. I got, butterflies in my stomach because I missed the year due to COVID. You can remember that, correct? You can remember some of the games and all of the sports that you might have played and participated. You can remember your first game. A blink of an eye, it just happened just like that. 4 years, just like that. The next 4 years, just like that. The next 4 after that, just like that. Here's the facts. Because we know life happened just like that, you don't just become who you are just like that. It's not how it works. So in 4 years, the expectation is that some of you in this room, you're going to be walking across another stage just like that. But in between that is the college work. It's the scholarships. It's the financial aid. It's the avoiding of the girls or the young men. It's the playing the sports. It's the joining the fraternities or sororities. It's the college parties that's going to suck you in. It's the being away from home. But the thing that's just like that is the thing that you just saw in your mind. Just like that. And now that that person is there, you have the potential to become that person. But I always tell the young people we work with, potential is just that. It's hype. It's not the reality. It's not how it works. So now that you have this belief, you have the potential. But what we know to be true is that you've had people invest in you for 4 years. They giving you all they got for 4 years. You guys went on college tours. You guys had people come to your schools to speak to you. You guys been a part of young women program, young men program. You've been a part of summer program. You've had people believe in you for 4 years. And that's not going to happen or go away just like that. And so for my students that's going to be going into college, man, just take a step. Just take a step, but don't forget about the person that you said you wanted to be in the next 4, 5 years. For my young people that want to get into professional boxing or who want to work, just step into it. And every single day, you should step into it. Because if you take enough steps forward, when you look backwards, you won't even be able to see or remember what you was just like. Now, some of you guys in here, you're going to be the superheroes in your family. You're going to be the first to do everything. The first to own your home, the first to get married, the first to, it's just going to happen. But it's not going to happen just like that. It has to be a belief. Then it has to be a step. And I used to hear this song, please forgive me, I'm a little older. But it used to say, when I move, you move, just like that. Shut up. Nah. And so all I'm saying is when you have that thought, when that thought moves, you move, just like that. And so the interactions that you have with your friends, if they don't align with the thought, then you can't make that move. Because if you make that move, the person that you saw, like I saw, he'll start to change just like that. Because the moment that I found out I was having a daughter, I said, I got to go back home because I want to be a father. I saw the NFL player take off the helmet. Just like that. He took off the shoulder pads. Just like that. And he walked out of the stadium. Just like that. And when I got in the car and we started to drive, I couldn't even see the college stadium. And it was gone. Just like that. But the way that God works is everything worked for the good of God. Because even though I couldn't see the NFL player and I didn't believe he exists, I knew that I had a voice and I knew that I wanted to work with young people. And so I started moving just like that. And then I went to college. And everything that I've been doing since then has been to serve young people. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to serve some of the young people that's in this room today over the last 4 years. One class, one lesson, one step at a time, just like that. And so young people, I just want to say congratulations. Because you guys deserve everything that you believe. You deserve everything that you believe. So just take a step, and I'll show you how. Just like that. Thank you.